juniors find seniors on the basis of an informal network. Some will call it an old boys club. How many seniors pay their juniors decent salaries? Our young lawyers do not have even chambers where they are paid money. The youngsters in our profession as slave workers. Why? Who enters the Supreme Court today is largely defined by what was the state of the legal profession when we all joined the profession 40 years ago. In the high courts is 30 years. In the Supreme Court, typically we would have put in 10 years extra before we come here. In my case, it was 16 years before I came to the Supreme Court. Now, what happens as a result is that if we do not create an equal opportunity legal profession today, these problems which confront the marginalized communities, not just women, but marginalized communities, will continue to fester in our legal profession decades down the line. So if we have to improve the state of access to opportunities to higher judicial offices, we have to change the face of the legal profession today in terms of who enters the legal profession. And the responsibility for that is not just of the government or the higher judiciary. The responsibility for that is of all of you as citizens, as lawyers. In our profession, is it not very commonplace that juniors find seniors on the basis of an informal network? Some will call it an old boys club. But at least there are networks. We do not have a merit-based method of selecting young lawyers who will be recruited to chambers. How many seniors pay their juniors decent salaries? If you are staying in Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore or Calcutta, how much does it cost for a young lawyer to survive? Even in a place like Allahabad, if a young lawyer is coming in from the districts, you have to find place to stay, you have to find place to pay, some rent to pay, transportation, food. Our young lawyers do not have even chambers where they are paid money. That must change. And the burden of doing that is on us as senior members of the profession. But too long we regard the youngsters in our profession as slave workers. Why? Because that's how we grew up. We can't now tell the young lawyers today that that's how we grew up. You know, this was the old ragging principle in Delhi University. Those who are ragged always ragged those people who are below them. Because it was you're passing on the blessings of being ragged, you see. Sometimes it got very bad. But the point is that seniors today cannot say that, well, that's how I learned the law in the hard way, and therefore I will now not pay my juniors. Those times were very different. Families were smaller, there was family resources, and so many young lawyers who could have made it to the top never made it, for the simple reason that they had no resources. So this structure of the legal profession, which is so patriarchal, sometimes so caste-based, has to change so that we as lawyers discharge our duties to our society to make the legal profession open up to our people from different communities, from the marginalized groups in our society.